Turn me up. This is
coming to you from the heart of the Pacific, brought to you by Paulie by Design.
respected at all times.
Broadcasting from San Francisco, California, the city by the bay.
It's about to go down.
We shine on positive Pacific Islander role model every Sunday.
Party on a Sunday.
From 10 a.m. to noon, it's time for the iconic Faika Podcast with your hosts,
Listening to
Naki and Carl.
What's up, Neki?
Hey,
Here we go.
here we go.
Season 6, episode 27 of the Faika Podcast. We have guests in the house. It's nice. Neki's been booking in-person guests as we get further and further away from the pandemic. So we have Petey Toilolo in today. He's going to be with us all show. Thanks to Petey and his crew. We've also got Noble Vines and Terramana in the house today. Naki grabbed one of those right away. We won't say which one that is, but there's the gifts that were brought in today. We had that joke of, you don't, as a Polynesian, you don't show up empty-handed, and Petey did definitely not show up empty-handed today. So we will get into our guest, actually more of a host. He's going to be here all show with us today. Some of the topics we may or may not get to. I always talk about topics and sometimes we don't actually get to those.
Right.
But we do want to get to Captain Amelia Zarka and her first officer, Maria Zarka, had a historic flight with Hawaiian Airlines on Thursday of last week, I believe.
Yes.
We definitely want to talk about that. KJ Apa Saufai and Paris Goebel won an Emmy. Those are things
so
that
awesome.
we hope to get to today. Obviously, we got our check-ins, and then we're going to talk about Petey Toilolo's journey that took him behind the camera. That's our show today. Naki, what's up?
You know, I'm here. I'm living my best life. It's hot as hell. It's like a heat wave going on. I think it's
hot.
what is that? What do they call that? Indian summer.
Indian summer.
So
Do you hear in Death Valley it was 128 this week? Hottest place. I wouldn't think the hottest place on earth of all the places. All you hear, I don't know, the desert, Libya, Iraq, being hot, and the hottest place on earth is right here in California. It's Death Valley, 128 degrees.
That's
That's
crazy.
wild.
I don't leave my house. Crazy. Good week. I'm just hanging out. I have a Samoan garage where everything and its mama lives there. It has all the clothes that nobody fits in, all the old couches, all the old everything.
Is it like a time machine?
It's
You
like
can
a time
see things
machine.
from like 5 years ago, and
Right,
10
right.
years ago.
So that was my yesterday was cleaning out my garage in 101 degrees. So that and me and my husband Mo. So
Did you get her done?
no.
No?
It's another day or so, but I'm good.
Multi-day project.
Right. My daughter so she plays for University of Maine, her volleyball game. So she's like across country, and we got to watch her play. You have to pay like a fee to watch their live video, and it's like $15 for the whole weekend. And so, one person buys it, and then the 20 Samoans log in. So my whole family logged in and we watched the game, which is pretty cool. And then they no volume on a couple of games. So I literally emailed the people that were filming, and I was like, I need my money back because there's no volume. And then in the middle of the game, somebody must have bumped the camera because it was just on the scoreboard. And then for like half of the game, we were watching the scoreboard. Everybody was pissed. And then I emailed them. I'm like, I don't know what happened to the cameraman. I don't know if he fell and bumped his head and can't get up, but we've been staring at the scoreboard for like 10 minutes. 2 minutes later, it was back on the floor.
You're a topic, right?
Right.
They're saying
Yeah.
that the Samoan word for Karen is Naki.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it, except for work. And it's a 3-day holiday. So I'll partake in this alcohol beverage here later on this evening. But other than that, I had a great week. How was your week, Petey?
My week was well. I just what did I do this weekend? I've basically just been buried in my laptop, by
Someone.
Samoan
I
Solutions,
love
yeah.
that. I love them.
Yeah,
they are
they-
good people. Good people.
Beautiful souls, man. Epi and Fanga, I can't thank them enough.
Yeah.
So every room I walk in from here on out, I'm always gonna bring them with me.
Yeah.
I'm just super appreciative of what they've done for me, and I love it. But yeah, so my weekend just consists of YouTube University,
Yes.
trying to learn everything I can about the computer, and then just the programs that I've gotten on the computer.
If we can get you to get right up on the microphone, okay, that's going to be better so people can hear what you're saying. You had talked about YouTube University, and before the show, we had all kind of talked about, yeah, that's good. The things that you can learn on YouTube, and it really seems to be that way in this day and age, that if you want the information, you can go get it. You know what I mean? It can be a college, right? It can be a trade school, it can be the internet too. What pointed you that direction? Just I need this information. I'm thirsty for it. I'm going to go find it. Or had you heard about somebody else that had used YouTube to get the knowledge?
Yeah, well, I guess lack of funds. I got to find the cheapest way to gather information. These classes and these programs are expensive. And then also to hire somebody to sit down with you, that can be pricey. So the most effective way, online, research it.
Seems like there's an art to it, like, because if you're trying to learn how to do something in particular, like I did learn Adobe Illustrator, but man, I would start, to me, I just got picky about it. Like if your audio was garbage, and I just wouldn't listen to it. And I would just click off of it and pick something else. And then I wanted something that, wasn't 3 or 4 minutes, because I knew that wasn't going to cover like what I would. Did you refine like your search methods through YouTube?
Yeah, definitely. I spent hours on that, and then it's weird how YouTube kind of filters things out, because like you'll type in something and they only show certain YouTubers, so you got to like really dig to find who you like. I guess I just zoned in on certain call them YouTubers, right? And then I just I zoned in on them, and then I liked their content. So I just use like a handful of guys that are always consistent with their content and the stuff that I need. And that's just how I go about my search.
That's a way that I would find too, like the Think Media, for how I was trying to learn the studio. Yeah. Like after a while, it was like, just go there first, and then try to find anything after, because they would always have great content. Yeah. So what specifically was you think is the most technical thing you learned from YouTube?
Technical thing, definitely. Well, I could start with just purchasing a camera. That was like, I don't know. I didn't know nothing about cameras at all. Like I didn't know what ISO was. I didn't know what a shutter speed was. So, and then I guess we'll get more into my journey, but I'm very behind in technology. So just the basic level of what I'm doing now, I had to learn that all myself.
That's awesome.
Definitely. And I'm probably jumping ahead there with the journey behind the camera. We're going to dig into that in detail later on, but I can relate to YouTube University.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you married? I know we were going to get into this later, but did you have family stuff this week? Are you married? Do you have kids?
Yeah, I'm married. My wife's name is Adriana Torlolo, and I have 3 kids with her. I've been with her since I was 15 years old.
Oh, nice.
My best friend. And so got 3 kids with her, and we're just on this journey together.
Awesome.
She's been with me ever since.
Awesome. How was your week?
My week I was really concentrated on the fast. I did a 5-day fast this week. So I ate on Sunday afternoon, and then I didn't eat again until Friday evening. And so a lot of like my week was trying to make sure that I set myself up for success. So a lot of like my activities and when I was going to do something, when I wasn't going to do something, I just wanted to make sure that I got through it. And I did. It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. I'd done a couple 48-hour fasts before, and those were a little rough. But then I was on a message board where everybody's fasting on it, and a lot of people were saying, dude, that's the hardest part of fasting is the first 48 hours. If you went another 12 or another 24, the hunger goes away. And I wasn't sure that I believed that. But I'm a believer now. Day 2, 3, and 4, or day 3, 4, and 5 were not hard. Not hard until I made the decision that I was going to eat. Once I knew that I was going to eat, as soon as my wife got home with the food, I was crazy hungry just because of the anticipation. But I think that goes to the mindset of that it's really more emotional or more psychological. That when I'm hungry at 3 hours, that's the same hunger as when I'm hungry at 48 hours, right? It's the same hunger. So if I can break those up and be hungry at 12-hour increments rather than 2-hour increments, helps me get through it. I'm down. I was trying to figure the timeline out last night, so I'd ask you when I was sitting Sunga, which I think was late April. Actually, it was April, and I didn't start until May. So May, June, July, and August, in 4 months, I lost 28 pounds.
Okay.
Congratulations.
And
Good job, Fabi.
It's been a really enjoyable journey because I've eaten a lot of bad food along the way. I've eaten, I've gone to community events, cultural events. I've been, went out to eat plenty of times, ate bad food, but I've just got it spaced out to where I'm able to manage it. So fasting has, I always say this, so because a lot of people will say, "Well, what was the turning point?" So when I was dog sitting for Sunga for you when you were in Las Vegas, I was really searching for a way. I saw the diabetes. I'd been prescribed a diabetes med, and I was like, I got to figure something out. Like, I got to get my arms around this because next is going to come, X, Y, and Z, and I've seen like the damage that disease does with our people. And I read the book Diabetes Code by Dr. Fung. 100% changed the way that I look at losing weight, the way that I manage insulin, glucose, all that stuff. So if you're looking for something to, some really good information, because it's hard to do if you haven't got some kind of a education or thought process to it, the Diabetes Code by Dr. Fung, I'll say literally and honestly changed my life. That's my week.
Awesome. Well, okay, you go. I'm trying to. I need a different route. I cannot be not eating for 4 days. I'll be in jail. I'll be in jail by day 2. So yeah, no. I gotta eat.
So my normal days is I just eat dinner. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not doing 5-day fasts back to back, or probably won't do another one of those for a few months. But there's a whole bunch of different, health benefits that come with that, but I'm not doing that every day. Normal day for me is just eat dinner.
So I got a question.
Mhm.
So is the portion smaller when you eat your dinner, or is it the same portion?
I eat until I'm full. So, I've looked at the calories, like at the end of the fast. The end of the 5-day fast was the same food as at the end of a 1-day fast. Like, I didn't eat. That was kind of my thought. Like, yeah, that's good, but man, when I cut loose and I'm going to eat like 5,000 calories. Yeah. There's a way to break your fast. So you're supposed to break your fast with fats. So like, an omelet, nuts, avocado, those kind of things, so that you kind of ease your body back into it. Then I'm kind of full, you know what I mean? I'm at least not I'm not cracking open a box of Oreos on the first thing I eat. Yeah. And and then I have whatever, I don't eat extremely clean. I try to, but at the same time, like, I made a big thing of guacamole and tortilla chips last night. In my mind, I was like, well, guacamole is good for me because I actually made that, but tortilla chips weren't. But that's the kind of thing, like, I got to be able to do something I can do for the rest of my life. This I can do for the rest of my life. I can't eat clean every day for the rest of my life. I know that's just not a program that there are people that can do it. I'm not one of them. Yeah. There's plenty of donuts and pizza and Oreo cookies in my future. But I gotta be in control of when that happens.
Okay, well, good job. Eat something. Eat something. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna need you to eat something. Here, have some tequila. Have some tequila.
You making me hungry.
Petey came in bearing gifts, and the family brought some food and alcohol
and some drink.
Yes. So, thank you.
One of which was ripped out of my hands.
Yeah, it's okay. We can keep that down on the down
I
low.
want to definitely, say my brother, he was really adamant. It actually slipped my mind, and he was like, "Bro, you really gonna go over there with,
Oh,
like, you have to come every time you meet a Polynesian family, you have to bring something."
Oh, you're so sweet.
I'm still learning, and I'm glad he brought that.
I made that comment when y'all came in. I was like, "Oh, a Polynesian's not showing up empty-handed."
Yeah. And that's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
I looked at him like, damn, he's right.
I gotta do better. I gotta do better. When my family invites me over to eat, I just go eat. My kids are like, "Mom, we gotta take something." Oh yeah.
You know who always makes me shake my head and check myself with that? Manufo.
Oh yeah, she's
Manufo
good.
she is so on point with her fa Samoa.
Yeah.
And she shows up. She, how she greets everybody and she brings gifts and she acknowledges everybody. Every time I'm around her, I'm like, dang, I could do better.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like when you first started coming around the family, like Carl, I don't know if you know the story, but he was adopted by a Palangi family and then found us like in 2015. And so when he first started coming into the family gatherings, like, when you walk in, you greet everybody. And when you leave, you say goodbye to everybody, unless you sneak out like me. Because it takes a half an hour before you can leave. So Carl, when him and his family came for a Christmas, they were leaving. And
our first Christmas, and there is probably 100 people there.
Yeah.
And we were there early. So, kind of met people as they came in, but we didn't come in when the house was full. Right. But the house was full. I was just recovering from chemotherapy and I was exhausted at one point. And I was like, yeah, I told Sister Naki, hey, I'm going to get going. She goes, and later the kids, my kids were like, Dad, like the whole house stood up. And it was like, it took us over half an hour to get out of the house because we were hugging, saying goodbye. And, there's 5 of us and we're doing, there's 5 hugs per person in the house. But yeah, it was interesting hey, I'm going to go. And
don't ever try to sneak out. I can sneak out pretty good though, because people turn around and I'm gone. But yeah, what you were saying, like, you had to learn that. Why do you have to learn that?
I guess I just got done doing 10 years of incarceration. So, within this last 10 years, technology's like surpassed me.
Oh, crazy.
We were limited on, on what we can learn from. So me coming out is just like the FaceTime on the phone is new to me. Apps on the phone. I think I went in when it was like the iPhone, I think 6 or 5.
Oh, okay.
Don't get Naki started. Yeah. I still have an 8.
Okay. He has an 8. Why?
It might have been it, but a long time ago. And to your point, things move so fast now. Like before, it would take, I don't know, 20, 30 years to get kind of teched out, right? Like you wouldn't be teched out if you were not, if you were out between 1950 and 1960. Probably not that big of a difference. Yeah. But things are exponentially changing now. Like 10 years from now is going to be like, who knows what technology is going to be around 10 years from now, but 10 years today that's a huge difference in terms of keeping up.
For sure. And I think when I went in at 2011, and I think it almost seemed like it was that time where everything just sped up. Mm-hmm. So
that's true.
It seems like I missed a lot. And I really feel it when I'm trying to learn something. It's a big learning curve.
I could imagine in YouTube University, there's probably just phrases that people think are common knowledge, right? Like they say certain things about, tech or searching or something, and you might be looking at that going, okay, I got to figure out what that is you just said in order to learn what you're trying to teach. Interesting stuff. Was Twitter a huge thing?
I think Twitter. Well, my generation wasn't really using Twitter,
right? So that was just barely
I still
a
don't
thing.
use Twitter.
Neither do we.
I love
we
Twitter.
should be, but we don't.
I love Twitter. I just got into Twitter because nobody follows me, so I could talk shit, and nobody's following me, so they're not going to repost anything I say. Like Instagram, where it's like, oh, no, oh, look at the quote Nike did. Really, when I post quotes, I'm talking to myself, and I think Cisco had posted something this week about when he posts quotes, it's for him. It's same thing. Like it's really I'm talking to myself, but if it helps inspire me, then I'm thinking somebody else could get inspired by this quote. And most of the time I'm just looking for funny stuff to post, but I run across stuff that really is for me and for me to learn every day. So I'm doing that, trying to. But on Twitter, I could be whoever I want to be. I could be myself. I love Twitter. Don't go follow me. Don't follow me.
You should be yourself at all times.
Yeah. No,
don't put your
try
handle
to.
out there.
I try. No, don't. Yeah. No, it's social media is like we were talking about this earlier. Like social media, you could just post a picture and put a description. And I think we were talking about the music videos earlier, but I just post a picture and you take whatever you take from that picture. Like I love museums or art. Where'd we go? We went to a museum in Las Vegas. I could walk around for a long time just looking at photos because in my mind, I'm thinking, what did the painter think when they were, So on Instagram, if you post a picture, you've really like got to put a 3-paragraph description kind of. But now it's all reels and videos. Yeah. We were talking about that earlier. Like it's like a job, really. I seen this guy talk about social media in the last 5 years has turned, he's a photographer. I follow him too. And before he would just post pictures. And then now he's like, it's like an ongoing job for him to keep up with reels to promote his job, his, what he works for, what he's doing. So I'm like, I don't have the energy, but.
Yeah, you have to be really creative. And if you're just doing photo on Instagram, it's kind of outdated.
I love it though. Like I love the pictures that you post, and that's another thing. How you caught my eye is the work that you're doing, and then Mena had first introduced us to your story. And she's like, check out this photography, and I was like, oh my god, that's so creative. And I love the journey that you're taking, and so that's why we here. We have Epi on this morning. Good morning.
Good morning,
Epi.
sister.
How are you? We're talking to Petey. So oh, you want to, okay, anyway, go ahead.
Well,
we were talking about, social media. So who does your social media, or are you figuring that out too?
So everything that you see and is me just trying things out.
Yeah.
Like I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just,
okay,
do they like this? See where this goes. So I'm just running it myself. I try to have my kids do it so I have a son who's a little more literate in this field. But it's like you kind of have to run it yourself because only I know what I want.
Exactly. Exactly.
But so I'm running it myself.
That's a real bold mentality of like, I'm just going to get in there, swing the bat, see what happens. And then if I got to adjust, I'll adjust. I'm not that way. Like I'm too much right? Yeah. So I got to like have all the answers before I do something. And like, then what if this happens? What if that happens? And I wish I were more, like, let's just start the journey, even if I don't have all the answers, and then we'll just figure it out when we do it.
Yeah.
And have you always been that way where you were, just kind of I'll figure it out as I go, or is that something that's developed?
So, honestly, like being that I was away for 10 years, I really feel like I'm playing the backfield. Like I feel like everybody is ahead of me. So
I don't see that in the work that you.
That's my fuel. Is like I'm just like I have to manage my time better. Like every day I have to do something. I have to learn this because I just feel like there's, I've lost so much time. So I guess that's to answer your question. Like
you've tried just play. You feel like you're playing catch up.
Yeah. So now I'm just throwing whatever on the wall and see what sticks. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
I envy people like that because, like I said, I'm like. If I'm taking a trip, if I'm not careful, I want every light green before I leave, right?
Yeah.
Because if one's red, then I'm gonna run into that. I got to figure that out. You know what I mean? So when people like you are just like, "Hey, I'm gonna do it," and if things go wonky, then I'll change as I go. So I try to surround myself with people that are, more like that. Otherwise I'll think to a fault.
It's a balance. It's definitely a balance. You have to have the analytic side,
Mhm.
and then you have to have the fearlessness. I battle with those daily. Like, should I plot this out? No, I'm gonna just drop it. Or no,
Yeah, don't
I
think
gotta,
about it. Just
yeah,
drop
you
it.
just gotta do
Yeah.
like in some, I feel like especially with social media and just life in general, it's too many variables to try to weigh out.
Right.
Like you never know like what lane. Like I didn't know I was gonna be into photography or videography. This just like kind of just revealed itself. So I look back and then I see like how things are coming my way, and it's coming from the fearlessness and the just not thinking things out, not having all the answers, just going.
Right.
So that's been my formula, and it's gotten me here.
Yeah. Don't you just love it though? Like it's your passion. So it really doesn't feel like work. Everybody's like, oh man, Petey's working so hard.
Yeah,
But when you're doing something that you love, it really doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
It's just you're passionate about it, and it makes you fearless. And it makes you real. I think that's why we kind of partner well, because he thinks about everything, and I
Yeah.
just go, okay, come on, let's go.
That was when we did our first interview. I've done interviews for
Oh yeah.
a long time, and I've been in media to some degree for a long time. So it wasn't a big deal for me to do interviews. She'd never done a single interview. She didn't even know anything about it, and I was like, I found this person that's just like, whatever, I'll do it. And I was thinking, well, then I'm just going to have her do an interview and see how she does and see how fearless. And she just jumped in and did the interview. And I was like, just in awe of, she was like, so where do I stand? And are we gonna, and Mena was
It was Doris
doing the
Doris
microphones. It was
Tulifo
Doris.
was my first interview.
And she just did it. And I was like, whoa, this is wild. And it was inspiring for me to see somebody who was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'll do it. Whereas I'm like, man, I got to read about 8 books before I'm going to do an interview. I'm going to have to watch hours of interviews and read some books and maybe take a class or whatever. And then when I was like, well, let's see how far I can push the envelope with her. And she and Mena, same thing. They just were like, all right, we'll do it. And I was like, don't say anything. Just let them do it.
I'm like a combination of you two.
Yeah.
I definitely have my moments where I'm overthinking things. And then even to the invitation here, like I really don't feel.
I know we messaged back and forth, and you were like, "I don't have anything to talk about," and I was
that
like,
was Carl speaking.
"What?"
Yeah, that you were talking to.
I was like, "Yes, you have stuff to talk about." I was like, it is like whatever we're doing, people are watching. Like I know that now, that whatever we're doing, either our kids or somebody is watching you move. Like, where like I grew up in the hood, right? So I would have never thought in a million years I'd be doing a podcast. So when we did the interviews, he's like, oh, you do the interview. I was like, okay, I don't have nothing to lose. I ain't got nothing to lose. So let's do it.
That's the mentality.
Right.
Sure.
I was like, I'm not rich. I don't have you know what I mean? I'm like, let's do it. It's for our people. Like we started to show our kids. I always cry when I tell this story. We started to show our kids there's people that look just like you doing what you're thinking about doing, right? Like you want to be a photographer? This is what a photographer looks like. The photographer looks like you. You want to be in the entertainment business. You want to be a teacher. You could be whatever you want. The problem was we didn't have anybody that looked like. When I was growing up, nobody looked like me. So I just went to. My mom said, "Go be a secretary." I was like, "Okay, I'll go do that." You know what I mean? Nobody told me I could be a teacher. Nobody told me I can go to college. You know what I mean? This is why we all do that. Watching you walk around at Pacific Feeds, I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Like he's right with his business. Like he was like, oh, I'm doing, and he's another one who comes in bearing gifts. But like this is what an entrepreneur looks like. This is what we have to show our kids, and not even our kids, like me, I'm old. Okay. For me to see a professor like I don't know if he's a doctor now, but Professor Palita, he's a professor in
Dr. Palita.
Dr. Palita. He's a professor at San Francisco City. I never seen a professor. And I was like, oh my God, look at us. Look at us, right? So that's why we do this, because we show our kids, no matter your background, you don't have to be rich. You're not just, you just got to be willing to do it.
I
Take
think
that
that-
scary step, right?
sure.
I
Scary.
think the one of the things that we had talked about is there are people out there like us doing it, right?
Yeah.
But there's nobody shining a light on it.
Right.
Like there, when Naki talks about that, there probably was a PI professor
But I
somewhere.
didn't see them.
We
Right.
wouldn't know. So that was kind of our thing. Like, let's get the light and put it on those people so that people can see, we're winning in life in all kinds of different ways, not
Yes.
just and God bless them, but we can't all be The Rock, we can't all be Roman Reigns,
Yes.
we can't all be Troy Polamalu. Those are great, but those are the 1/10 of 1/100%
Right.
of that. Shoot for that. But if you don't, you can be a professor, a doctor, entrepreneur,
Business owner.
So
cutter,
those were big for us to be able to shine a light on that. But yeah, I was literally in awe of Naki and Mena when they were doing it, because then the battery went dead on the mic, and to me that's like disaster.
Interview over.
That's like, so can't. Mena was like, don't worry about it. We'll use the mic off my camera. And I would have never thought about that, but just the thinking on their toes kind of thing, I was like blown away with because if she had said no when I said, hey, you're going to do the interview, I'd have done it. But when I said you do it, she was like, man, all right, whatever. And I was just watching in amazement to see that mentality of like, I can do all right. And then if then you believe in me, you think I can do it, then hey, we'll do it. Did you always have the entrepreneur bug? Was it always something in your?
That's actually one thing I struggle with, honestly. And to be transparent, like I love the arts, the creative side,
Mhm.
and I feel like I just feel like somebody has to do it.
Right.
If not me, then who? So yeah, just like, to me, like if I could have it my way, and maybe this is just my comfortability talking, like put me in a corner and just let me create and let me just work with what I want to work with. I don't want to worry about the business side.
Right.
But that's a flawed way of thinking. Like you need to know at least something about the business. So that's what propelled me to open the LLC.
Yeah.
And start there. And to me, that's a big journey, because nobody in my family's ever owned a business, or not to my knowledge at least.
But they will after you, though.
But they will. And
That's awesome.
Yeah. So speaking on the entrepreneurial side, it's not really a natural thing for me to want to worry about business numbers. Like
I think that's a piece of it that's difficult, right? Like somebody's got to be first, right? So somebody had to be the first one to do this and the first one to do that. But then it's like, you got to make your own mindset to be the first.
Yeah.
You're not following a path. And that's why so many things get done immediately after the first person does it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the 4-minute mile or something. Roger Bannister was the first human being to break a record, a time limit that was thought to be impossible for human beings to break. Now, obviously, it's, you look back at that and go, that doesn't make any sense. But once he broke the record, then immediately, like within a month, another person did it. And but it's that thing of
he leaves the blueprint now.
right.
There's
It can be
blueprint,
done. Right.
How do you move when there's nobody that went down this path?
Right.
Then nobody's handing back the instructions, like do this, eat this,
Right.
work out this time of day. Like
there's no YouTube university to be the first.
Yeah.
You're not going to go on there and be, I want to be the first person to do XYZ. Well, there's nobody teaching it because nobody's done it.
Yeah.
Do you feel any weight with that? Or you just feel like I'm doing what I'm doing and it's all going to happen?
I do feel some tension in my daily routine, because I feel like again, like I feel like I have nothing to lose, but then I feel like I have a lot to lose, because I'm aiming for a legacy. Like I'm thinking like when this is over with, what can I hand down, or what can my family be proud of? I come from doing a lot of bad stuff, so just trying to turn that over and be be more positive in my approach with life is definitely something that's propelling me to do better, and that's where the pressure comes from.
I think that's maturity, right? Like I never thought about, even when I had my kids and they were young, right? I didn't think about what I was going to leave them. But the older I got, the more I got the picture of like, at some point I'm not going to be here.
Yeah.
And what tools have I given them to be successful in life, and what am I going to leave them? That becomes more of a thought the older we get. The younger we are, you feel like, I don't know, my 20s, I thought, I'm going to live forever, or, I never really thought about the future. But the older you get, the more you think of it. As you see the next generation grow, and like you said, your son's a little bit more technically savvy than you are.
Yeah.
Personally, and it may be just because I'm not young, it seems like they have a tougher road than I had, just because I didn't know what was out there in life. Like, I didn't know like what my boss made, or the company, or any of those kind of things. If I knew what it was, I think it feels like it would have been overwhelming for me to know what life looked like. It seems to me like today's generation, the younger generation, they've kind of got a better vision of what life looks like than I had when I was younger. How do you feel about, the younger generation coming up? You think they got, or is it just different?
They definitely have their set of challenges for sure. And me and my brother talk a lot. My brother Mo, and he's from a different generation, and I come from under him. So I'm 33, and
you're just a baby.
So my generation, I guess it's just different. Like they deal with social media. So okay, you can get in a fight at school in my generation and whatever. Nowadays, you get in a fight, you get the myths put on you. That thing is going viral.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Forever, and it's forever.
It's forever. So
Forever.
how do you deal with that?
Right.
When something happens to you, then you go in class and everybody's passing that video around.
Right.
So it's like that's a struggle in itself. What else would they have? Just the social media. That's a whole different room.
I always worry about
whole
it from
different.
the standpoint of like, there's times where people get, a kid gets drafted, right? And, he's a first round pick for the Washington football team. And then they come up with like this tweet that the kid put out there when he
Like
was 16
5 years ago. Yeah.
And, he's 22 now, but this was 16 in high school. And he said some dumb tweet out there, and it's like this big thing. And it's like things that, like, Mo's generation, my generation, Naki's generation, if you said something stupid, it doesn't get immortalized. Like, it doesn't become something that chases you down the road 15 years later when you're applying for a job, or you somehow an employer pulls that kind of stuff up. That's what I really have empathy for this generation, is like, you walk on eggshells all day long. If you're on social media, if you say something, that is on record, and you can delete a tweet, and that in itself is like, ooh, he's ashamed of what he put out there because he deleted it, and then it gets blown up because it was deleted. That's what I feel really bad for the kids, is you can't be it seems like to some degree you can't be a kid nowadays.
I think it's like a top bottom thing too. So like the kids now are privy to a lot of information now. But the older generation can't be too naive to not learn what's going on, so they can help almost guide this information. So you got TikTok, you got YouTube,
Right.
and if you're not fit yourself, as an older person, a mentor, and you're not able to help them, like, I'm pretty sure you guys know about emotional intelligence. Like, if you're not,
Set up
if
right.
you're not
Yeah.
insightful yourself, and then so when your kid, walks in a room or whatever, you should be able to identify the signs. But if you're not working on yourself in those ways, how can you help this young man deal with embarrassment,
That's true.
shame, all these emotions? So what I noticed too about this younger generation is that they're able to identify the emotion now. Like, you'll hear them say, like, I'm depressed, I'm sad. That was never a
Me
concept
too.
growing up.
Me too.
Nobody was able to, like, they weren't talking like that.
Right.
So now they're able to identify it, but now I just feel like it's up to us as mentors, older people, to, okay, you're feeling like what? I know how to deal with that,
Yeah.
So
Or
it's
get
like a
them
top-down thing.
resources. Yeah.
It's not necessarily just one. I feel like it's definitely all connected. We all got to learn.
It's hard too, because there's, if the older generation never talked about it, never dealt with it, didn't have those discussions, and now the younger generation is coming to them
and they want to talk.
Right. Do we have the tools? You know what I mean? So there's a piece of, you've always, it's like a continuing education kind of thing.
Sure.
Like, you have to continue to keep up, or you're going to get left behind in those discussions with your kids or with the younger generation. They're going to say, I feel this kind of way. And you're going to be like, I got to go look that up. I'm not sure what that I've never heard those words.
Yeah. And when I was growing up, we didn't talk about I'm kind of old, but my parents were like, if I had anything to say, it was like, sit down, shut up. So you just didn't talk about anything. You just held it in, and you know what I mean? And so
it messes you up.
Right. It messes you up.
For sure.
That's why I am the way I am. That explains everything. Just so you know, I'm talking about social media real quick, just to bring this up. I was talking to somebody who went into a store and it said help needed. And she said she remembered going into like McDonald's and Jack in the Box, and all the signs said help needed. They needed, and me growing up, all my friends worked at all the fast food places. Like, you were looking for a job. And we were talking about how there's no jobs because everybody is a content creator. Like, they're making money off of, TikTok or Instagram. I don't know how you do that, but there's a lot of kids like are wild on TikTok, content creators. Like, I guess they make tons of money, more than, whatever you're making at a fast food place. But
some of them are making money.
Some, not me though. I wish I was, because I would stay home.
There are plenty of people that are content creators, like actors, actresses that are waiters and waitresses.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that say they're content creators. There aren't that many that are making, making a living, a full-time living doing it.
Or trying to,
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about where you grew up, your family, and how you got to Modesto or Turlock. Well, where did you grow up?
Okay, so I grew up in Modesto, California.
Okay.
For a lot of people, that's the 209 area code.
Mm-hmm.
Should I talk about?
Do you have a big family, or?
I want to say it's big, but it's not. So my intermediate family is small. I got 5 brothers, 4 sisters.
That's small.
It's pretty small.
Fish in the Polynesian.
Okay, that's big for me.
But like, as far as like, so my mom's family and my dad's family, they're not in the region, so it's just us,
Yeah.
So yeah, I grew up in Modesto, California. My family is originally from San Jose.
Oh, okay.
But I really make it a point to say I'm from Modesto because that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
That's where I was raised. And so I got a twin brother.
You do? Yeah. Who's your twin brother?
My twin brother's named Paul. You
probably
know him. He's just like a workforce.
Oh, wow.
He works a lot. So Modesto, California. What was the other question?
Where did you go to school? Where did you?
So I went to school out there, and Modesto was kind of weird. It was because I was the only Polynesian in every school I went to.
Wow.
It was me and my brother. So it's like, for me, my perspective is a little different. Like, I don't come from a Polynesian community per se. It's really small out there. And then growing up,
what'd you get mistaken for? Being the only Polynesian in every school you went to? What did they? Mexican? What was the?
So Modesto's primarily Mexicans. I had a friend that I grew up with from like 4th grade to like high school. In high school, all these years I've been with him, he thought I was Mexican the whole time. Thought I was Mexican the whole time. But I got that. Cambodian. There's a lot of Cambodians out there. But other than that, people kind of knew I was Samoan. It was really easy to get in trouble too, because they find out, it's the Samoan kid over there.
Yeah, if you're in a group of people,
true.
well, I don't know who they all are, but I know who that one is because he's the only Polynesian.
Out.
For sure. Yeah. So it's just weird. So when I did run across Samoans, like, I always felt like a tie to them. Like, I always, made it. I made it definitely. I made my way to go introduce myself to them.
Yeah.
Every time, whether we're in the mall or whatever,
too.
I just wanted to come say hi, and I still do that to this day, because just how I grew up, I didn't see a lot of Polynesians. So when I see them, like, I just feel like I'm obligated to go say what's up to them.
Yeah, that's nice. Not too many people do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gotten some mixed reactions too. Like,
do I know you?
Yeah, I'm Polynesian. What? So what?
If you don't get up out of here, like, but, yeah. So yeah, that's why I grew up.
Yeah. When I was growing up, all the Polynesian kids at school, when we see each other, that's where we're hanging out.
Yeah.
Now it's different. I think because there's I don't know. when I grew up, all the Samoans hung out together. You know, the Tongans, Samoans, Hawaiians. We all stayed together all the way through high school. Now it's a little different.
Yeah.
And so then during, like you said, you were in prison. What led you to that, down that path?
So I guess maybe it's my family never really had a lot. We didn't own no businesses, didn't even own a house. I'm the first generation of Samoans. So my mother and father are born in Samoa, born and raised.
Mm-hmm.
They moved out to California. Yeah, so it was weird. I always give this analogy like I grew up, you know, somewhat in a Samoan house, an island house. But then when I walked outside, I had to deal with America.
Mm-hmm.
So the lessons that my mother was teaching me was kind of based off, you know, the island ways.
Yeah.
But it didn't translate when I went outside. Like, you teach me all this respect, love, and you know, always, you know, respect everybody. But these kids don't respect me down the street. So I had to really go through my little trials and struggles to try to fit in you know, certain groups or whatever. However I was feeling when I was young, just trying to find my identity. And of course, finances weren't there. So that led me to try to figure something out.
Right.
And
if we can back up a second, why did your parents pick Modesto as the place to come from the islands?
so they went to San Jose, and that's where they were.
Okay, so they originally went to San Jose and then moved to the Valley. Do you think it would have been different if you, like Naki has said, you know, if there's Polynesians at the schools or wherever, which there were, they would hang out with each other. Do you think it would have been different if there were other Polynesians or PIs to hang out with?
Maybe other productive Polynesians, because you get
who you run with is who you run with.
Yeah, if they were into the same stuff I was into, I think it'd be bad. Like, we just make like a
make it worse.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know why they picked San Jose. I really didn't get. They probably told me the story, but I forgot. And I don't even know how she ended up in Modesto. But yeah, she migrated out there, and then that's where me and my brother and my I have a sister younger than me, so it was mainly just us three, actually in the Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
So we lived in the house, and my other brother Mo, he was working in San Jose, so he'd come back and forth. So and then my parents are older. I don't know if I didn't say that earlier, but really older generation. My dad was born in the 30s, so you know, real quiet guy.
Yeah,
he was in Vietnam, and he just you know, just kept to himself. So like I didn't have the like son, like, you know, I didn't have those conversations with him. He was just, you know, just older guy, quiet. And my mom, she couldn't translate to me either on what I was going through. So and then my brother's in and out of my life. You know, he's working, he's busy. So everything was just like duct tape and, oh, this is broke. Or trying to
survive.
Trying to survive, just figure it out. And then eventually you just kind of gravitate to kids that have the same mindset as you.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, looking back, it's like, damn, we were all broken in some way.
Yeah.
Like,
I was gonna say, because now that I'm older, I realize like my parents were born in Samoa, so I'm first generation here. But I think about our parents coming to a new country, not understanding the laws, and you know, just trying to survive because it's so expensive. I always think that my parents had such a hard time of trying to keep us all fed, like we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, and we just were. I thought we were okay. I didn't realize. I mean, somebody said we were poor growing up. I didn't think so, but you know, it's just your mindset. But I always think of the trauma our parents, first generation, you know, leaving Samoa to come to a new country, trying to figure it out and have kids.
Yeah.
So now that I'm older, I realize that. But when I was a teenager, I was buck wild. So.
Yeah, definitely. I got a lot of stories on, or just memories of like realizing that, like how different my parents' approach was in comparison to my friends' approach. Like we can talk about fashion. Like when it came to fashion, mind you, they're from the islands.
Mm-hmm.
A shoe is a shoe to them.
Yeah.
A shirt is a shirt. Like,
right.
But I didn't really pick up on it like until like I started getting a little older, maybe like middle school. And I started like looking at myself like, man, I don't got these I want these clothes.
Yeah.
Real quick on that note, speaking of fashion, we got Levasa in the house. Talk about the clothes you got on.
Don't trip, Lavasa the drip. You know,
Yeah.
definitely with the tie dye. My
Go
boy
follow
Eli.
them.
Go follow Eli at Lavasa Instagram. We'll add everything at the end, I guess. But
Yes.
definitely Eli is somebody to watch out for. He's
Yeah.
definitely an inspiration of mine. Me and him talk constantly about ideas and how we could build our community. He comes from the same area I come from, so big shout out Eli.
You came a long way. You're definitely, fashion forward now.
So I got to represent, the people that represent me the most. So,
That's right.
check
I got my
check out the
Levasa gear, and so does Naki.
Yeah.
Oh, he dropped off a little pack for you guys. Huh?
No, we got our own gear. We support. We support.
Okay.
I hate, like, we went to Pacific Feeds
Mhm.
and the food vendors there, like the Pokemon his name is Ray. He owns we went over there. I went over there, and he was like, "Here, take it." And I was trying to pay, and he's like, "No, you don't pay." And I was like, "No, we do not do that to each. That's why we, that's why we just, because of our culture, we give and give and get. And no, we need to take care of ours." I was like, "No, I'm not. I got to pay for my stuff."
That's respectable.
Yeah, it's
sure.
your work.
Yeah.
It's your work. So you went to school in junior high and realized.
Oh yeah, just my shoes weren't like these other kids' shoes.
Yeah.
Kids are starting, kids are horrible, man.
Right.
Yeah,
They're
they're
gonna say weird
brutal.
stuff to you.
Yeah.
Break you down, your whole self-esteem. So I started noticing. I don't think my twin brother, was really worried about stuff like that. But
Yeah.
me more so. I was like really, like just trying to like, I don't know. I just feel good at that time.
Yeah.
I wanted nice clothes.
It's
nice
tough
shoes.
enough to be a kid, because kids, like you said, kids are brutal and
Yeah.
they're horrible with what they say, and they're going to say things they want to hurt. Like, you know what I mean? They know what buttons to press because they're your age. They go to your school. They know those kind of things.
Yeah.
So you don't want to stand out. You definitely don't want to stand out unless you're the social elite group that stands out, and that they're cool. If they stand out, it's cool. But for everybody else, man, I just remember just wanting to be the same. Like, I don't want to stand out. I don't want to be special, but I don't want to be, different.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm still in my brother's clothes. It's like 2 sizes bigger than me. I'm shoving my like a roll of socks in his shoes just so they look, they can kind of fill in a little better. But I want to say like that was like a big like moment in my life where like I'm just trying to like I'm noticing when I walk out my house that the landscape is different, and what she's telling me is different. So I'm like, okay, you told me this, it doesn't work out here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. So then I'm bringing in the stuff in the streets inside my house, and trying to mix it together and figure it out from there.
Was there conflict in the house when you were trying to do that? When we were realizing, hey, there's the world at home, and then there's the world as soon as I step out the door. Was there conflict in the house, or were you more doing your dirt outside and not?
For sure.
Did your parents know what was going on?
I think my first rebellion phase was like, I think my mom woke me up one time. She's like, "Get ready for church," and I looked at her like dead in the eye. I was like, "I don't want to go." And it was like that was
and
like
you're still here.
That was like a pivotal moment because she looked at me and then she just gave me that look like, "All right, you're gonna make your own decisions from there." So I think that's where kind of like, oh, I could do my own thing now.
I think that's a point though, right? At certain age, you got to sign up to be parented. Like, you're 13, 14, like you can make it really hard for your parents because they're physically gonna drag you into the car every Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, that's just something most parents aren't going to sign up for. It's like, so at that point, like you said, like I said no, and the world didn't end. So now I can start now. Oh, okay, like this is a whole new day. You remember that? So you remember that Sunday morning?
Sure. So I took that and I guess I just slowly started running with it. Was there tension? I think she kind of seen what I was doing, and just kind of like, I think she took an approach where it was like, I can't do nothing at this point. She was like, he's gonna do what he does. Just make it home. That was the mentality.
So how did you start? Like, how did you get in trouble?
It started with just being in school, being with the rebels, and just fighting. They called my home. He's suspended. Then from there, selling drugs. Hanging out late. And it's crazy because I look back now and like crime elevates. If people don't know, like you may start with candy bars in a grocery store.
Right.
Eventually, that candy bar is going to turn into a bike. That bike is going to turn into a car. That car is now you jump into someone's house, and so it started really like scaling up.
Kind of like like the Sunday morning, right? It starts from just saying no, I'm not going to church.
Yeah.
Then it graduates to I'm not coming home on time.
Yeah.
To candy bars but there's just new levels to it.
Sure.
Did you feel that as you were starting that slide? Did you feel it, or you just kind of that you're just in the moments and that those? There was a moment where you were thinking like, man, it was just, it was a car at first, but now it's pulling people out of their car or, as you elevated, did you were you aware of that, or is it just what you were doing?
No, it was happening so fast. Like as soon as I was like able to just like do whatever I want to do, it was just happening. Cause once you're in that, once you're in that life, like so many variables, like anything can happen.
He goes,
Right.
Yeah. Keep it on the down low. Trying to stay low key.
Yeah. So like, it just kept elevating from there. Like, you start selling drugs. Now you're robbing drug dealers.
Right.
So it's like, and then you start partying with your friends. Now you're at the other parties, hanging out, meeting other people. And it just happened that's why they call it a fast life.
Right.
Things just start going.
Was that stuck down the 209 corridor, or are you out in the Bay?
Yeah, I was in and out the Bay Area. I was in San Jose a lot, hanging out with friends out there. But yeah, just mainly the 209 area, Bay Area, and it just kind of stayed in that little box.
Gotcha. When you were did you associate with PIs? Was that your?
Oh yeah, for sure. So they call us others, right?
That's your car.
Yeah, they got the blacks, of course the Mexicans, and they break down into what type of gangs they're from, and then they call us others. So other than black, other than Mexican,
other than white, yeah,
Asians,
and that's the Asian Pacific Islander car, and that's who I ran with.
And were there really Asians in the group?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Just out here we're trying to break off Asian.
So just for a side note, like, so with that car alone, what's the word? I guess like per. So with the number, so it's a small group that go in as Asian Pacific Islander.
Mm-hmm.
So us calculated with all the other groups, we have the most calculated incarceration time. So we have like the most lifers, the most people.
Oh, per inmate.
And we're the smallest group in the system.
That's crazy, right?
So it just speaks a lot to like, I don't know, my perspective might be a little tainted, but like when we do something, they give us like the max amount every time.
I think then there's less support for the group, so you're less likely to have, I don't know, the ACLU or the NAACP or somebody come forward to help you if you're Asian Pacific Islander, because we don't have, the NAACP is by name is for black people.
Yeah.
The ACLU is really supposed to be for everybody, but the high profile aren't PIs. So I think that there's less support, and also you just end up getting lost in the shuffle.
I think the education level too with the families, like, so when just like my situation, my family didn't know nothing about the law system.
Mm-hmm.
So like literally I could have taken like 20 years and my family had been like, oh yeah, that sounds good. Sounds better than 30.
Oh.
But that's just the
mentality,
the mentality, like, and that's kind of how I
not knowing,
just not lacking the information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On what to do when your brother gets locked up, or your father or whatever. My brother was there when I turned myself in, and the deal was they started at what was like 30 years. 15. They moved it to 30. Yeah, they started going up.
Oh hell no!
They're like, and then we talked them down to 15 15 years. And then me and him were sitting in the hallway, and he's like, you know, I don't know if he said it or I said it. I'm like, man, 15 sound better than 30.
Yeah.
And then like, but that's just the lack of knowledge.
I'm not knowing.
Not
Yeah, you're
knowing.
not
And
knowing.
not knowing, and also there's a you know, the vast majority of criminal charges are adjudicated with a plea deal, and the plea deal is done with leverage against people not necessarily of color, but usually people of color that don't have the resources
Exactly.
to fight the long,
Exactly.
the long protracted jury trial. Is who has the resources for that? So most of those are going to end up being plea deals where they are throwing out big numbers, and all of a sudden this number sounds okay because I just heard some crazy number like 30 out there. Well, I don't even know about that, but I know 15 sounds way better than that number.
I'm over here Googling adjudicated. You lost me at the second word. I was like, anyway.
There aren't a lot of trials, is what I'm saying. There aren't a lot of trials. Most of them are pled out. Most of them they're saying we'll offer this if you'll just plead guilty, and the guilty plea comes because they're trying to get less time in prison. Innocence, guilt, all those kind of things kind of go out the window.
And then your parents not knowing what's going on, so they left it to Mo to handle everything. Is that what happened?
It was kind of a collective, like everybody kind of looks at my brother. He's a lot, he's probably like probably the one with the head on the shoulders when it comes to situations. So we're all just kind of trying to lean on, what do you think?
What do I do?
And so, I got myself into this mess, and I'm not knowing the system myself. So I'm like, man, what do you mean? These other people, they got this amount of time. Why are they giving me this amount of time? It's just really just lacking, what you're doing and just not knowing.
Right.
Yeah.
So is the API car able to stand on its own inside, or do you end up linking up with other groups if needed? Or do you does it stand on its own?
Yeah. So before I speak on these topics, I do want to clarify, everybody's prison time and prison experience.
This is your own experience,
exactly.
Right?
It's totally different. So I don't know. I don't want to get that message out there. Like, no,
this is how it is.
Like you could be in the same prison and on a different yard on the other side, and
be completely different.
The politics and everybody's different. It just depends. In speaking on my experience. For sure, the others held their own. Like we were like a band of brothers. I'm still connected with these brothers to this day. You probably seen a lot of them at the Pacific Feast that you didn't even realize that. We all did time, but
that doesn't define you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like your past doesn't define you, because look what you're doing. You're sharing your art. When you went in there, were you like me? I would be scared all the time. And it was there at any point where you're like, okay, I got to be here. So let me figure out the politics. How am I going to survive?
It was horrible, man. So you go through phases, just like anything, right? Any struggle, I can even compare it to fasting. It's like levels. So like for me, my first 3 to 5 years was like the worst. It was like trying to adapt into a whole different environment. You're here with people that's been here since the 80s, since the 70s.
Oh, dang.
So the way they do things is how they've been doing this for 20 years, 30 years. That's been on that yard for a long time. And the way the culture is set up for them, it was like a culture shock. Like it felt like I was in the 60s or 70s.
Oh, wow. Was your family able to visit you? Were you nearby?
My family got to visit me. I had family visits. So my wife and kids got to come see me. It's funny you said that, because even my brother, he never came to see me in prison. A lot of family members wrote me, try to get visit forms, but I guess this was part of my process, because they asked for visit forms, but I never sent them.
Yeah.
I would tell them just wait, but I didn't want to see them in there.
Yeah.
I didn't want to put them through this.
Yeah.
I had to see my wife and kids, so they were the only ones allowed to come see me, but I just couldn't bear and then mind you, I'm like the first person in prison in my whole family. So there's like we're talking about blueprints earlier. Like nobody could guide me through the system. Like nobody,
Right.
even on the politics side, like nobody was like, look, Pete, when you go there, go talk to these people.
Go find your
Yeah.
car, go
find
get
your
linked
car.
up.
Right.
You're gonna go through this process. I didn't have that. So my experience going through the prison aspect, the starting point, it was rough.
Yeah.
It was really rough. It was trying to like
Plus, I would imagine you're trying to deal with the thought of I'm going to be here for. I mean, there's the whole piece of like this isn't tomorrow or the next day, next week, next month, next year that I'm going to get out. There's got that whole piece of the emotional piece of trying to deal with that, and then dealing with your personal safety and dealing with, family visits or not family visits. You said it was a 3 to 5 years to get right.
It was so what happened. Of course, while I was committing crime, I was trying to, in my young mind, I'm trying to better my family situation. Oh yeah, let's just go rob some people and we'll get a big money bag and we'll be all right. We'll be good. Just let me just go do this a couple times and we'll figure it out. But I did that. I got in trouble and I made my situation worse. So me going into the system, it was like heavy. I was like, man, look what you did. I had to look at myself, like really sit there, because everything slows down when you go to prison.
Mm.
Mentally, like you stuck in a box. They tell you, what to eat, how to do things. When you can come outside your room, it was like a whole like you're a puppet in there, honestly. Until you get to prison and you can kind of have a little more freedom. But yeah, the 3 to 5 was rough. I pushed my family away, my intermediate family, and then I had 3 kids and a wife. So like that was horrible. I had 2 kids at the time, but then within I think 6 months to a year, my wife's like, "I'm pregnant." I'm like, "What the heck?" Like, so she had just got pregnant with my daughter when I turned myself in, and so I'm just trying to cope through all that
Mm-hmm.
while trying to find my place inside the prison politics. Um, yeah, when I look back at myself, I was super overwhelmed. I was stressed, and yeah, and this is probably why I do want to talk about this, because I want this message to go and to help another poly kid who's thinking about taking this journey, and just to know what's ahead. Like, this shit is not no joke. Like, these people will put you under the jail.
Yeah.
Like, so, and then some. Like, luckily for me, I had enough sense to okay, damn, I messed up, so I can't keep messing up. Like, this isn't. I have to find a way out of it.
Right.
Some kids that I've seen, like Polynesian kids, even older men, they get in this situation in prison and they keep messing up,
Right.
and it just gets worse. Like, you can be. They call it. Like, they joke around in prison. They say, like, when you're doing something bad, like, bro, you're gonna mess around and go to jail. It's the irony, because we're already
Right.
locked up, but jail's like the hole. They will
Right.
shove you like so deep in the system, you have no contact if you just keep doing what you do.
So
I've heard. Oh, go ahead.
people get out of prison and, like you said, continue to go back. It's like I don't know, it just happens. What was that moment that made you say, no, not me?
Well, definitely the what kept me balanced was my kids and my wife.
Mm.
Like, just wanting to like better this. Like, how do I fix this? Like, it's broke right now. So that was like the energy that I was projecting. Let's figure this out, man. Like, we can figure it out. So definitely that was like the method. Like, okay, this didn't work. What else are we gonna do? And slowly but surely, like, things just started like coming towards my way. You meet.
Right.
So prison's like anything in this world. Like, you attract what you put out. If you want to be turned up, you want to be with all this craziness.
Mm-hmm.
There's people for you over
Plenty
there.
of that.
There's plenty of this.
Yeah.
It's all around you. But then you'll find like gems and like to me, like, people that are like giants in prison, where they're like big figures, and like, man, this dude read the Bible, and he like knows the whole Bible from he could read it backwards to you, or
Nice.
this guy is like a self-help guru or whatever. So then you run into these people, then you take little pieces from them, and that's what I've been doing my whole journey. Is like I meet somebody, I had Muslim cellies, I had Christian cellies, and so I learned a lot of religions in prison, read a lot of books. So then I just took characteristics that I liked from them, and it kind of just made it my own.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's inspiring, though. That's very inspiring. So you get out, and then you're like, what the hell? What happened to the world?
Yeah. So you get so zoned in with prison, and just trying to focus on your out date. So in prison you can catch a lot more time. They can extend your time if you keep messing up. So I'm so zoned in on trying to go home, get home. And then there isn't too much that you can be prepared for in prison. Like I try to prepare. I'd ask my friends like that got out. I call them, they write me or whatever, and like, what's the formula? Like, how do you maintain staying out there? What are you doing right now that's bettering you? And so everybody's advice was different because they have different situations.
Their own experience. Yeah.
Some people didn't have kids, so I can't ask him, how do you raise kids out there?
Right.
But he has a business. How do you run your business? I'm just trying to, gather information like that. But so when I get out, there's so many variables you can't practice for.
Yeah.
Like just walking down the street was like, what the heck? Like, the
so
sounds
different.
and like in the grocery store, like you have to assimilate back in here.
There's a podcast called Ear Hustlers, and it's about
San Quentin.
Yeah.
And
he talks about Erlon is the inmate, and he actually got out after, I don't know, 20 plus years. And he talked about the overwhelming choices. Like if you feel like I don't have enough choice, when I don't have enough choices when I eat, because they're going to tell me what I'm going to eat. And he said then he was walking in a grocery store and he was like, man, like, I don't know what to pick to eat because there's so many different choices. There's so many different choices of times that I can get up and I can go do this. And he said it was the amount of choices that you have beyond just staying straight or not. You know what I mean? Like beyond that, but just the everyday life choices are overwhelming, that there's so many different, like I got to choose when to do this and when to do that. Was that tough for you in that you have to get up at this time, you have to eat at this time, you have to go to the yard, all those kind of things, when those are taken out, was the amount of choices overwhelming?
Yeah, for sure. I still struggle with that when I go on Amazon and I'm trying to, even with the camera, finding my camera, man, there's so many different cameras and lenses and different grades of the same camera, like price points. It's like, that's why YouTube is like a gift and a curse, because or just the internet.
Well, you can look up and find out. I've been on YouTube for 3 hours and I'm not any closer. I've watched a whole bunch of good stuff, but I'm not any closer to finding what I wanted to when I started.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like definitely the information can be, an overflow. Just a simple trip to the grocery store.
How did you find photography when you got out?
When I got out, I jumped into the fire service. I was in fire camp for 2 years, my last 2 years, and I was fighting fires. So I got in good with them. I took a liking to fighting fires. So there's a program that you can kind of re-entry your way into a fire career. So I did good at the fire camp. I got everything I needed to do. So I put that in my pocket. I was like, okay, if all else fails,
I got this
in my pocket. So then I get out. Within 2 months, I looked around and I'm like, I just seen like, certain family members and certain friends that I have, they're all doing the same stuff. So I said, I got to bust a move. So I left to Ventura to go to the academy. I joined the fire academy, and it was rough because so the fire academy, the setting is a paramilitary, and so it's like another institutionalized setting. I have to go live over there.
Yeah.
So again, I'm leaving my family. I just got done doing 10 years, 2 months, and You know.
Yeah.
What was fueling me was I guess the need to provide. You know, the ego. You know, I have to do something. Something has to happen. I got to make a way. And I guess ultimately that's what got me in trouble. So, but this is more of a productive way I was going about it. Yeah, so I joined the fire service. I have a son who has epilepsy, and you know, it was messing with me while I was in prison. You know, he have his episodes, and my family has to care for him. So while I'm in the academy, I'm in and out of. I'm going from Ventura to Turlock. That's like 4 or 5 hours. And before I'm leaving, the night before he has an episode, and you know, when he has an episode, he's like the whole day and a half he's done. He's sleeping because he has a lot of seizures. So then my two younger kids that are under him, he's the oldest. They're watching him, and I'm leaving to go, you know, fight fires. And they're just like, "We've been doing this, Dad. Like, just go. You can go." And you know,
Yeah.
that broke me down. I was
Right.
like, "Man, this ain't it." I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, we ain't doing this no more." So went to the fire service, and I told them my situation. They're like, "Just come back when you're ready." I was like, "All right." So dipped off, had a fire check. It was like $2,000 at that time. This is like a couple months ago too. I had my last fire check, and then now I'm back to like square one. I feel like I just paroled again. I'm like, what the hell do I do? I was over there for like 7 months, 8 months, and oh yeah. So what do I do? I'm looking around. I know I'm a creative person. I was doing music previously, incarcerated. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just start messing with music again, get a job, and then I don't know what gravitated me to cameras. Or I just came up with the thought of with music, I could shoot my own music videos, or I could shoot other people's music videos, and I could, you know, create an income like that while I watch my son or help my family. And so I'm in and out of Best Buy, you know, doing all my YouTube stuff. Maybe I should get this. And my wife just nudges me like, man, stop researching and just buy it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Make the move.
yeah, she pushed me off the edge, and then
That's a great partner to have, by the way.
for sure.
One that supports you in your journey, and not blindly. Obviously, if you're trying to buy a $50,000 piece of equipment, you don't want a partner that's going to say, "Yeah, go ahead and do that," to your detriment. But having somebody support you at home is huge.
Yeah, so the camera was like on a discount. It was like open box. The guy was like, you're super lucky. Get this now. Like, it's gonna leave. Somebody's gonna grab it. So he was nudging me to it. And I just looked up at this guy like, I guess this is it. Like, bought the camera, and then I've just been shooting everything ever since. And it's been working for me. Like,
yeah. You had the Someone Solutions. What is that? The show that you did for them. How did that happen?
Man, that was crazy. So Era with Lavasa, he links me in with a post that they posted about they're looking for photographer. I think for just a photographer. So then he sends me the link. Then I link in with Epi and Fanga, right, with Small Solutions, and we just started figuring out our needs and wants and how we go. And mind you, this is like my first big job.
It's awesome.
Previously, I was just running around the town, like going to pop-up food vendors and taking pictures for them. And I was doing it all for free just to learn. And then, man, my people came through with some more solutions. They're just like, we'll pay you.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want? I'm just like, I don't know. Like,
No. Research.
So I had to research that.
Yeah.
And then, I went and did that. And man, they just embraced me fully. Like,
yeah.
And I was just like, man, what the heck?
It's so beautiful to see our community embrace each other.
Yeah.
Like, we've had people where we're on here and we're talking about, you know, you need to go check out this podcast. You need to go check out this show.
Yeah.
And originally people were like, that's your competition. Why are you
Yeah.
promoting them? And
No.
it's like, we're not for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's other shows that's for other people.
Yes.
And they're role models too. Like, we want to promote everybody. So if you got another podcast, we want to know about it so we can talk about it. You're not our competition. You're somebody we want to embrace as an entrepreneur and get your story out there. So to hear that story that you've had with Epi and Fanga, and they've done so much for the community.
Their energy was like, bro, like, you can do it. Like, They didn't care about where I came from. I don't even think they knew until like like months later they were working, but they just gave me the drive. Like damn, there's people out here that that really want to help you, because I really felt like I was learning this on my own, and Epi was just like, man, look, what do you need? Like, oh, you want to learn how to do that? Look, just do this.
She's awesome too.
Yeah, she's crazy.
Yeah.
They both have that can do mentality. I remember they had Fangongo Samoa, and the pandemic was there, and we're like, well, we'll just skip it this year. And they were like, no, we're gonna have a drive-in, and they did it at a church in San Francisco, set up this huge screen like a drive-in movie theater, and did Fangongo on the big screen because they weren't going to be denied. They were like, nah, we'll figure it out. And they did it the second year virtually, and they're just, it doesn't matter. They're going to find some way to make it happen. I remember one of the years at the Turkey Trot, what happened? The clock went down or something, and then Ursula Ann hooked it to her car battery to make sure that the thing worked. It was just they're a can do, and no matter what, they'll make things happen. So it's great to see you hooked up with them, and we'll probably see you at Turkey Trot coming up. We got that.
Yeah.
We got that coming up soon. We'll be providing the food for the Turkey Trot. So I don't know how healthy it'll be, but we are going to be providing the food.
I was just going to say something. You're probably not going to eat there either.
I'll make that one of the days that I eat. There's no way I'm going to be on the grill and not eat. Impossible.
Okay. Red zone.
You do the photo exhibit, and did everything just blow up after that?
So that was like, honestly, I'm still off that high.
Yeah.
Because I go take these pictures, whatever. It's not whatever. I take these pictures, total experience. I'm dealing with kids.
Yeah.
Polynesian kids. I'm dealing with I get to see my culture in live action. People are dressed up.
Yeah.
And just the vibe was dope there. And then do the pictures. Me and Epi are going back and forth. And that was another learning curve, how to send media back and forth. I did not know none of that. Like, how to send big files. And so Epi walked me through that. And then come to find out she does a photo exhibit, and they blow these pictures up like 8 feet
they were
tall,
beautiful,
huge. And like I'm still shocked that happened, because for like an entry level, like I'm still learning, just my camera and stuff, I'm still learning, but it just made me like really realize it was like the quickest message, like you're doing something.
You're doing it.
You're on the right path. This is something that you should stay with. So they gave me that reassurance, like, man, this is what you need to do.
That's fuel for the entrepreneur, is to see what your hard work is being appreciated by others, and amaze yourself and look at that and go, wow, I did that. Like that's what I created. Is really got to fuel you for, on your journey. Anything in your mind of like things you'd like to do, or are you right now just grabbing things as they come and kind of figure out as you go?
Things I like to do is definitely jump on the film side. I have these, me and E-Rod, we talk a lot about like concepts, and he does a lot of playwriting. So
ooh, playwriting.
He's a script writer. He writes script, and so we definitely want to push some intentional content, whether it be short film, of the culture of I guess just life in general, life as we see it. So definitely want to get in the film side. I'm already kind of jumping in. I'm messing with reels and
nice.
Small business stuff, but we do want to put like full length short films out.
Nice. Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Awesome. Did anything that Epi and Fanga say or do besides pushing your work and getting you the exposure that you deserve? Is there anything that you've watched? Because they're an inspiration themselves. Yeah. And Epi is a graphic designer herself. Like, she's self-taught.
Yeah.
She's a graduate of YouTube U.
Yeah. She's awesome. Is there anything that you took away from working with them?
Just basically, you can do anything.
Yes.
And then like to see my own people doing it, like I look at them like, man, these are my mentors, like, because they look like me. I really feel like they're my sisters. Like,
yeah.
So to see them in motion, and then just to see the relentless, like, I can't complain.
Yeah. It's I don't know how to say this, but our community, our people, right? We like people talk like Carl was talking about how we push other podcasts and everybody's like, why are you doing that? Well, because we're not for everybody, but you have choices, right? You have choices. And I'm in awe all the time that we when I hear stories of us pushing us and helping each other, because there's no competition, right? We're just trying to help each other move forward.
Yeah.
And it's an odd concept for
Everybody
some people.
can eat.
Yeah, I don't.
Yes.
Everybody
I never
can
understood that, like the gatekeeping and like I don't know. I feel like you're hindering yourself.
Yes.
Like you're hindering yourself if you want to isolate yourself and just kind of the people that I've ran across, like Epi and Fanga.
Mm,
Luckily, I haven't really ran across like somebody who was really like no,
yeah.
like everybody. This community that I've been dealing with is super open. Like
Yeah.
I don't know that they last very long. So if you're, if I'm trying to shut Naki down, energetically, I'm saying like I'm not open to receive, right? Because
Yeah.
that's like a negative energy. Sooner or later, that's going to
Yeah.
impact me.
for sure.
That's bad
And
karma.
I'm completely open to receive whatever.
Yeah.
Mm,
And I am for everybody because I'm a big believer of there's plenty of space for everybody. Not everybody's entrepreneurial minded. So if everybody woke up tomorrow and said, hey, I want to be a content creator, most people aren't wired for it and they'll sort themselves out.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to go over there and block somebody's path
Yeah.
for them to find out that's not the right path. So, we're just of the mindset of like the more the merrier, and we'll give everybody the shot, the shine, and they'll sort it out themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you come across those people, I don't know that they'll last too long. You know what I
sure,
mean?
yeah.
Like they're just going to give off the wrong vibe,
Yeah.
and sort themselves out.
So is there anything you want to let people know that from everything that you experience, like what is the one thing you want to share with the community that, well, people are watching you. I think we've been messaging each other back and forth
Yeah.
about how people are always watching us. What is the one thing, like even your kids, what do you want them to know from your experience?
That's a deep question.
Right.
Because I want them to know a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's hard to narrow it down just to one thing, but definitely I want to use my story as like I tell my kids all the time, like I'm setting the example. Like I'm not just gonna tell them to show you.
Mm-hmm.
Like look, I pulled this. I mean, I know this analogy is overused, but I pulled this out the mud.
Right.
I came out like you guys seen this whole process. Look where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I think a big thing that where they opened their eyes was when that laptop came.
Yeah.
When they're like, damn, dad got a laptop. Like,
yeah.
because they knew how bad I needed one.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so like for that to come in the mail, like it was like overwhelming. Like
You worked hard for it.
I was
though.
super joyful. Like
Yeah.
and they see me open it. They're like, damn, you really
Yeah.
That's the thing is we're always on stage. So when you are in, you're on stage, right? People might think, oh, well, you're still on stage. And now you're out and you're doing your thing and you're winning. You're still on stage. And I think that like you talked about is people are going to care more about what you do than what you say.
Yeah.
And you're doing it.
Yeah.
You're doing it and your community can see you. So definitely your family's going to see you.
I love it.
But if I could just leave one thing with them, and I guess just like it doesn't like you gotta like shut out the I guess the negative talk, the fear, the doubt. Like I tell them all the time, like you have to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You have to do it. Like if not, you're gonna lose sleep, and we all need sleep. Like you're gonna be 20, 30 something years old, wrestling over something you wish you should have done.
Yeah.
I guess never too late.
Never
Life
too
gets
late.
easier when like sometimes I'll see people that are not doing what they should be, not what I say they should be doing, what they think they should be doing. And there's internal conflict with that. And man, it all lines up. Once you start doing what you love to do and what you were destined to do, man, things just get easier. And you may go to bed tired and exhausted. You'll sleep well, but you're tired and exhausted from doing things that you love.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to be tired and exhausted from life anyway. Like you may as well make what you're doing, what your passion is, that part of your life. So good for you. And I think that you living your life is the best example for everybody to see is you back on your feet and winning, and we continue to watch you create. We've already been at events together. You did. I tried to remember exactly how you talked yourself out of an interview at Pacific Feats, but you did it. You did it so professionally and so well. Man, that was
Yes.
smooth. We walked
Yes.
away from there, and I was like, we didn't get the interview, and I'm not even sure what but dang, he did a good job at deflecting that.
No, he said, I'll be back. I'll be back. I was like, okay, I got you. You coming on now. But your story is so inspiring. And it's amazing that all the trials and tribulations that we all go through, to come out of it thinking about your wife and your kids, and of course your family that support you, like your brother and your two brothers that are here supporting the work that you're doing, because they believe in what you're doing, because it's written all over your face.
Thank you.
If you're passionate. Okay, I don't know, I'm such a crybaby. I always cry. But
No, I was getting choked up earlier. I wanted to walk away, honestly. I was
yeah, but watching you do what you love, like that's our thing we always talk about, is live your truth. Live your truth. Do what you really want to do. And you'll be so much happier. You'll be happy. Your kids will be happy. Your wife will be happy. But I love watching you live your truth. And the pictures and the work that you're putting out is so beautiful. And it speaks of your spirit. So
yeah, at this point, it's all about life quality.
Yes.
At this point, it's all it's about now.
And you're showing your kids.
Mm-hmm.
You're showing your kids to do what you want. Okay, I don't know why I'm crying. I'm always such a crybaby, but I love I love watching people live their truth and doing what they love. And we're so proud of you. So proud of you. And look where you're at, right? Like you've gotten a laptop to continue the work that you've spoken out into the universe. Like, I need a laptop, and boom, God gave you a laptop. Well, someone solutions, but God heard you.
And that's nothing. I firmly believe in that method. Like,
oh yes.
What you consume yourself with, what you're trying to manifest in your thought life, that will come true. Like,
yes.
If all you think about is crime and bad stuff,
yes,
it's gonna find you.
Right.
Like, it's gonna come to you. So on the flip side, if you want certain things, however you want your life is, however you paint it in your mind, it's gonna happen.
We always say,
yep.
Say it into the universe,
in
prayer, in word, however, believe it and work your tail off for it. You'll get it.
Yeah.
It'll come.
We say, pray, move your feet.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
I love it.
We have real quick, because some community announcements.
Oh, yeah.
Because we are we
I
went
was like,
long.
okay, bye.
We went long, and what a great time. Our producer actually told us the time, and I was like, whoa. So, Samoan Community Development Center invites you to the launch of Ka Pasa Fetu'u, a community needs assessment. NHPI community researchers embarked on a journey to conduct a community-based participatory research project that examined the needs, gaps, trends, and strengths of NHPI youth and young adults in San Francisco. Join to hear the voices that they've gathered from the NHPI young people. Thursday, September 29th at 6 p.m. at SCDC Auditorium, 2055 Sunnydale Avenue, San Francisco 94134. And we just got added to that as the Masters of Ceremony. Yeah, and Tracy Williams will be there. She's an artist. She did this art piece here for us. She's out of Oakland. Hi Guy Lai will be performing. He's got a bunch of great songs, so go follow him on every listening app. Amu is also having their blood drive on October 1st, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 2055 Sunnydale Avenue in San Francisco. If you want to volunteer, you need help. They want to help and need volunteers, and you want to help. Contact Christine Mawia at 650-219-1081. Also email her at jtchristine@hotmail.com. Their Ribbon of Hope campaign has started, and they asked for 50 cents. And at the end of September, they will give away the money that they collect to families with cancer. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal is all my usos. There you go. And Snacky with Nacky. I do Snacky with Nacky because I'm a fat ass and I eat every day. So I snack all the time. And so we collect 50 cents. I don't know if you've seen it, but I ask people for 50 cents. And at the end of the round, whatever I collect, I tip the person. And so far I've got like $865.50. And so I'll go eat somewhere, of course. And whoever my server is, I tip them whatever I collect. So I'm on round 21. So I'm kind of shocked that I got that far. A lot of snacks.
Lots of snacks. So yeah, there you go. That is our show. Petey, we are so excited to watch your journey. Thank you for coming here to share your story
Thank you so
and
much.
bringing food and alcohol. Thank you. Thank you for bringing alcohol. Thank you for, bringing food and alcohol, and Brother Mo for driving you here, and your family support and your beautiful wife and kids.
Thank you.
We have people. Hey, Doris is on. She's listening from Samoa. She's sending her love. Mona, who is from American Samoa, is up early. They're listening, tuned in. Thank you so much for sharing your story. You don't know it, but you probably saved a life today.
I hope so.
We appreciate you. Family, thank you for the food, the alcohol. Mo, your support of your brother is beautiful. Go listen to Polynesian Podcast. Hey, go follow Levasa on Instagram, Levasa Island Apparel. The go. Follow them on Instagram. Follow Petey, the Living Room Media. I love that, because we're always in the living room. There you go. Thank you for tuning in. Petey, we love you. We're so proud. Come back to FICA with us.
Love you all.
Yeah.